Hey, everybody, welcome to the Jim Masters Show, live entertainment, lifestyle, variety, celebrity talk show series. Wow, that's a mouthful. Don't worry about ever having to say that. Just say, I watched the Jim Masters Show, and everybody will know what you're talking about. Hey, good to see you. Welcome to the show. It's nice to have you here. If this is your first time watching the Jim Masters Show, you just stumbled on us. You're flipping through, videos and things of that nature. And you're like, oh, what's this? This is cool. Is this guy really live? Is this a talk show? What's going to happen? What's going to happen? Well, we're going to have some entertainment. We're going to have some great conversation. And we have a legendary record producer, composer, show producer, and more. Dennis D'Amico is joining us live and direct from his beautiful studio, where he's surrounded by some gorgeous musical instruments, guitars, and more. His dog is just outside his door. He said he's a studio dog, so maybe we'll hear him bark. Maybe he'll kick the door open and join us here on the show. Hope you guys are doing well from wherever you're watching. We're here, of course, in the New York, New Jersey, Connecticut tri-state area along the southern New England coast. Beautiful between New York and Boston and USA. Thanks for joining us, and thanks to all the new viewers and the new subscribers. We want to pay heed to a lot of new people who are discovering our fun showcase that we call the Jim Master Show Live. We're approaching almost 3 years, and we've done hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of shows with all kinds of amazing guests from Broadway and Hollywood and television and film and stage, comedy, sports, culinary arts, inspiration, authors, everything, not just one genre, but we celebrate life. We celebrate guests of all kinds. Celebrity friends of mine stop by as well, and they greet us, and we have a good time with them as well, and always have a good time with all of you. Thanks for all the comments that are coming in already. Lovely Squad, our viewers who watch all the time. We say hello to the Lovely family. And if you would like to comment during the show while the show is on right now, you can do that in our Jameis Lovity chat room. We set up a chat room. That's right. We have a chat room here. Isn't that cool? Oh, yeah, we're cutting edge. We're with it. We've got a chat room, Jameis Lovity chat room, that's designed just for you. So you guys can say hello to one another, exchange recipes, baby photos, whatever you want to do, and say hello to us as well. And we'll maybe take a look at some of those comments coming in as well. Of course, if you want to support what we're doing here in these hundreds of episodes with these great guests, then there is, of course, super chat, super emoji, super stickers you can do during the chat or anytime. Super thanks on our YouTube channel. And thanks to the many of you who have done that as well. And you can binge watch all the episodes too. They are here for the asking, for the liking, and for the enjoyment. Hey, yes, we have, again, a renowned composer. I'm talking about, he has done well over 500 songs for film and television and so much more. We're talking about Dennis D'Amico joining us here. When I mentioned Dennis was going to be on the show, everybody excited, and I am too. He's an award-winning impresario and entrepreneur for the development and production of film, television, music, and theater worldwide. Now, listen to this, gang. He has produced a myriad of high-profile music projects with artists such as Sir Paul McCartney, Kenny Loggins, Ricky Skaggs, Timothy B. Schmidt, Steel Magnolia, Tommy Emmanuel, Bobby Caldwell, Danny Aiello, who I did have an opportunity to meet, and he was one of the nicest guys on earth, as was or is Kenny Loggins. Kenny Loggins is another super talent, but Danny Aiello, who we lost not that long ago, was really a fantastic guy. Paulette McWilliams, who we've had on the show, she's fabulous as well. Other names that he's worked with: Roger Kellaway and Robin Ford, the incomparable Tom Scott, Will Champlin, Kenny Rankin, Sarah Darling, Phil Vassar, Hillary Cole, Pavel Ziegler, Chevy Chase, jazz icon George Avakian, and many, many more. He's been doing this for over 50 years. 50 years of experience in the entertainment business. Dennis owns a very well-rounded expertise, and his career began as an actor, believe it or not, on network soap operas. Yes, that's right, network soap operas in the late 70s as well, and early 80s. At night, Dennis performed as a songwriter in all of the New York City clubs. Migrating to the business side of show business, Dennis cast also many Broadway shows. He sure did, such as Singin' in the Rain, Fiddler on the Roof, It's a Wonderful Life, Miss Firecracker Contest, Three Musketeers, and Into the Light. His work in film includes Best Picture, Out of Africa, Santa Claus the Movie, 9.5 Weeks, and so much more. We're really excited to talk about all of this and lots more here on the show. And it's really exciting. And he's worked with some of the veterans, as I said, of the industry on so many different levels. It's really cool to have him here. We'll sprinkle in some more of his background because it really is extraordinary. I want to welcome him to the show because he's going to perform for us too. But again, there probably isn't anything film or television wise, maybe stage as well, that you haven't been, privy to or blessed by in terms of Dennis's touch with his music and casting and so much more. It truly is my pleasure to welcome an iconic individual in the entertainment business exclusively to our show, the Jim Masters Show Live series. He's coming to us again from his beautiful studio in New Jersey. Let's welcome Dennis D'Amico to the show. Dennis, welcome to the show, my friend.
Thanks, Jim. Thank you.
How are you?
I'm doing well.
You doing okay?
I am. Yeah. It's that time of year where you start gearing back up. The holidays are over, so you start, getting all your eggs in a row again. So I'm trying to come off kind of 3-4 weeks of lull, but it's good.
And when you get them all in a row, do you soft boil them, hard boil them, do you fry them?
I think I scramble them. That's
you scramble them. That is funny.
Yeah.
That is fantastic. Well, it's so great to have you here, and I know you're busy and you've got so much going on, and it's really extraordinary too, the amount of work that you have done. As I mentioned, working with so many extraordinary people over the years. You have written and directed, produced many television commercials, produced a world premiere ballet at Lincoln Center for classical composer Robert Rines, and produced and directed many off-Broadway shows, and earlier in your career contributed your talents to the Broadway production Stage Interlude, and starring Glenda Jackson, Aren't We All, with Rex Harrison and Claudette Colbert. And also what I think is a beautiful thing is I'm very big on helping charities, helping those in need.
Sure. Yeah.
And every year you've produced charity events that have raised millions of dollars for breast cancer, children's cancers, autism, scleroderma, animal rights, and so much more, which I think is a beautiful thing. And as I mentioned, your first love being music, you've composed over 500 songs, music, and lyrics. It's incredible for television, film, theatrical productions, commercials, and so much more. So my question to you, my friend, which I often get asked as well, when do you sleep?
I've started sleeping more recently. My doctor told me I had to sleep more. So I do sleep more, but I used to sleep literally 3 to 4 hours a night, because I would work during the day, and at night I would, that was my composing time. So, I would start working by, 11 and 12 at night, and then the night would just go away.
Yeah.
So if I got 3 or 4 hours, I was good. But today I'm sleeping more.
Yeah, that's good. Well, did the time of pandemic cause you to sleep a little bit more, or were you busy?
I stayed busy during the pandemic because as a writer, you're alone a lot in your home, and so I had a lot of time to work. Without a lot of interruptions, because everybody was just kind of, in limbo, not knowing what we were going to be doing. But I got a lot of work done. It was a really great time for myself, and I have a team of people that work around me as well. And we started creating new shows, ideas for new shows, and I was creating new music. But it was all about, okay, we're going to hit the ground running when this is over with, and that's kind of where we're at now. We're getting back to it now,
which is fantastic.
Yeah, it's great.
We're still getting some of that static that you and I were toying with, only when you're talking. So I wonder if there's anything
I can sign. I
Yeah.
don't know what's causing
And
that.
which
That's
finger are you
really
going to start with?
right. So it's still doing it. That's
Is there
really
anything
crazy.
nearby that's electrical or anything
And my
that
computer over here is all there is. And I don't know what
it's
else
just
could
a
be.
little bit of you know what it sounds like? It sounds like when you speak, you know, sort of that sound when you're listening to an old scratchy record.
Oh, that's not good.
That
I mean, I
that
look vintage.
sound a little bit.
I don't want to sound
No,
vintage.
not at all. But I don't know what it is. Is it
I
if you
don't know
position your
either.
chair differently, you think, or
Well, let's try. We'll try. I'll try anything, that might help. I don't know.
that seems a little bit better.
All right.
Maybe.
Well, maybe we'll go with that. I don't.
Let's see. Yeah, say a couple of things. Let's see.
A couple of things.
Perfect.
Hopefully, it's sounding better.
It's a little bit better.
I'm
Yeah.
sorry that we're having that kind of trouble. That's usually I've never had that trouble, and I've got them on Zooms all the time.
That's
All
crazy
the time.
stuff.
Yeah.
It's just the way it is. You know, it could be weather, could be
I don't know.
just people toying to see how whether or not we truly are two professionals and can do these types of things.
This is a live show. That's what. This is live. That's
So
what makes it fun.
as I mentioned, you know, and that was just scratching the surface because there's so much more that you've done in the entertainment business, but literally, you've really touched upon every area, which I think, you know, is extraordinary, but music still is your first love, right?
Yeah, it really is. It's something I've been blessed with since I was a young kid. I really got into music and have had a nice career with it. But, in doing so, I met so many people and gotten, interested in production and all of that. Instead of just being an artist, I learned production and also, theater is one of my, loves of my life. And when I was in New York and working as an actor, I, kind of fell into a job as an agent with Eric Ross and Associates. That was about 1980. And then from there, I got hit from casting directors saying, "Oh, you really submit great things as an agent. You need to come be a casting director with us." So that's what
Right.
I did. And then after that, I just said, well, casting, I feel like there's a bit of a ceiling above my head. I want to start producing. And so I started, producing shows and the rest is just kind of what takes place every day in my life now.
Now,
You know?
I did mention that you were on the soaps back in the 70s and
Oh
80s.
yeah.
Tell us about that. Tell us about the soaps.
I started doing a lot of bit parts, on different soaps, and then I kind of landed with One Life to Live, and got to do some nice stuff on there, and where I've met, some of my friends to this day are all, Judith Light comes from there, and Jack Betts,
Yes.
great people. But yeah, I kind of just fell into that, and I was doing it because, it afforded me to be able to go play in the clubs at night.
Yes.
It was fun to work as an actor, but at the same time, it was really affording me to be able to, hit the club scene at night, and play in a lot of different clubs. A lot of those clubs aren't even in existence
They're not
anymore.
around anymore.
No.
How did you
No.
like being on the soap operas? I mean, the soaps have, and we've had some soap stars pass through here.
I'm sure.
They have their real diehard fans. They know,
Oh, they do.
they
Yeah.
almost tell you what you should be doing and who you should be marrying and dating and what you shouldn't do.
Yeah, like I said, I never had big roles, but I had some recurring stuff, and so it was fun. I just took it as just a lighthearted fun. Back then, the soaps were so important. I mean, they were the
Oh,
number one
huge.
shows on TV, affording them to produce the shows at night. And today it's completely 180 the other way. Soaps. There's a few of them that are still on. My mother was a big soap opera fan,
Oh, yeah.
so it used
Mine
to thrill
too.
her.
Yeah.
She was big
Oh,
into
my God.
the soaps.
Can you imagine what she used to tell everybody at the supermarket when she went shopping? My son's on One Life to Live is
Yeah.
yours. All right.
I remember the first time I was going to be on a soap. We were all so excited because I said, "Oh, it's like the last scene. I'm going to be in this," and the Pope landed in Boston, and I got axed. I had all these people waiting to see me on this soap, and the Pope upstaged me, man. So I thought that was, I got upstaged by the Pope.
The Pope dumped your soap.
He definitely did. He
Well, I
definitely
guess that's
did.
probably the only person, maybe other than president at the time, that you can sort of say, "Okay, I understand."
Yeah,
But
exactly.
how did you first get into music early on? For you growing up, what was the first instrument that you played, and how did you first get into it all?
Well, I was in a household that had music playing most of the time. My mom always had the stereo on. It was called the hi-fi back then. But my mom used to sing from morning till night. She'd be cleaning the house and whistling and singing all these great tunes from big bands. And she had a really good voice. She had great pitch. And I just, was kind of in a family that there was always music playing. My sister Karen would have Leslie Gore and the Supremes playing upstairs, and we'd have downstairs, the Beach Boys and the Beatles, and then Hendrix and Led Zeppelin. It was a real, wide variety of music that came from the house. A lot of the big bands, and of course the crooners of Sinatra and Nat King Cole, Tony Bennett, and Andy Williams. All that was going on in my house all the time. So I don't think I had a choice. I just started hearing all this great music and saying, "Wow, that's something I'd like to do." My mom used to take me to Elvis movies when I was just a young kid, and my mom was a big Elvis fan, and I still remember, going to see Elvis, and I said, "I want to do that." You know?
Right.
So. And we used to go sit in, back in the days when there were listening booths. You'd come in and put your 45s on, and my mom and I would go and listen to 45s and decide which ones we were going to take home. It was great, great
We
time,
used to do
great
that
memories.
at Record World all the time.
Yeah,
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 I miss stores like that.
I do too. They have such, history, and they've really affected us so much, and it's a shame that they're not there now. The business has changed so dramatically.
It really has now. You've got the online streaming and all the rest, the Spotify's and
Yeah,
everything else now that's completely changed everything, huh?
completely. Yeah, it's. I was always. I really like sales. I liked it when artists would get rewarded, for their music. Today, it's kind of all you can eat for $9.99, and the artist, I think, is the one at the end of the line. He's not getting paid what he deserves, but we're trying to do some things to change that, to make music, let artists make more money, because it's been tough. Most artists they barely make a living, so
It's
always
always
about trying to better that world,
ticket sales and concert merchandise and all that has always had to be the thing, right? More than sometimes even, the music itself sometimes.
It really has changed. Now it's really merchandise and touring is, and song placement. If you're placing tunes in film or television or commercials, you can make a nice living. But it's a different scenario now.
You've had an opportunity too to work with so many incredible people. Here's Paul Schaefer. Tell us about this. I saw Paul actually recently. A dear family friend was Ronnie Spector from the
Oh God,
Ronettes.
I worked with Ronnie. I was her agent in 1980.
You were?
I was.
Wait a minute. She was a dear family friend, and we were
She was
at
great.
yeah, we were there was a memorial at City Winery, and Paul was there, and others. And how did you guys work together? You and Paul Schaefer?
I was doing a charity event for scleroderma,
Oh yeah.
and we raised a lot of money that night. And I asked Paul to be my host, and I had Roger Kellaway on the show, and when I approached Paul, he said, "Well, I don't know." I said, "Well, Roger Kellaway." "Oh man, Roger Kellaway's there?" I said, "Yeah." He
Right.
goes, "It's been my dream to play with Roger Kellaway since I was a kid." And I said, "Well, I can make that happen, Paul." So I kind of got him in that way, and he was terrific and was just a wonderful host. We raised a lot of money for a great cause, being scleroderma, and we had a really wonderful evening. He was a true pro.
Absolutely right. Yeah, he really. Another too is Kenny Loggins.
Ah, one of my favorites.
What a
Kenny
superstar.
is,
He's an ultimate performer.
I think he is. I think he's one of the best voices ever, and he still sings great. And I got something today that said he's doing one more tour, the This Is It tour, and he's going to retire. And if you haven't seen him, you need to see him live because he is a sensational, amazing singer, amazing songwriter, and just a beautiful human being. Kenny is one of my faves for sure.
I saw him at a gala event in Stamford, Connecticut. That's through DART, which is Dana Angel's Research Trust, that raises money for something called Niemann-Pick type C, which affects kids and cholesterol and things of that nature. And he was the entertainer. One year it was Gladys Knight and the Pips. One year it was Kenny Loggins.
No,
and I tell you, he was on fire. He actually jumped off the stage and jumped on top of a chair with his guitar and just was singing. He's just an ultimate physical performer on so many different levels. Somebody else that's, so I would suggest anybody that, if that is his last, go round, the This Is It tour, to go and see him.
Oh, yeah, don't miss Kenny Loggins.
You will not be disappointed at all. Jeff Daniels, too.
Oh, he's a great guy. I was doing a charity event at the Ryman Theater in Nashville, and I really needed a master of ceremonies for that. And I called Jeff, and he came right on board and was just fantastic. He's a wonderful guitar player. He's a good songwriter. He's just a solid guy, and forget about as an actor. He's incredible. I mean, to play the wide range that he's played in his career is pretty phenomenal. But he came on board, and this is the kind of guy Jeff is. I mean, he came there. I had a suite in the hotel for him, and he goes, "Oh, Dennis, I drove my bus down here. I'm staying in my bus. You don't have to have a room for me." I mean, he's just a down-to-earth, great guy. Wonderful actor.
Absolutely.
And musician.
Oh, yes, absolutely, on many different levels. Here's another cool shot we've got that you sent along. There's with Jeff, of course, in the center. Tell us about this shot.
Well, that's Steel Magnolia. They had just won a contest down in Nashville, and they got signed to a record contract, and I produced a song with them. I actually did McCartney's Maybe I'm Amazed as a duet. It's on the Let Us In album that Reviver and Sony put out. And well, they're all on it. And on the right is David Ross of Reviver Records. He's the CEO of the company. Yeah, that was down in Nashville at the Ryman. It was a wonderful evening. We were raising money commemorating Linda McCartney's life. And Peter Max had done the stage, drops for us. And it was just a really fantastic evening. And we raised, a lot of money for not only for breast cancer, but for children's cancer in Vanderbilt Hospital down in Nashville.
Isn't that wonderful to be able to have opportunities to do things like that?
Oh, without a doubt. No, always. But it's the musicians and the artists that really make it happen, I may produce these things, but without them, and they're all so generous and, wonderful coming on board for these things because there's no money in it. They have to come and just, have a good time and have fun, raise money.
Right. And it's such a beautiful thing that they do that on so many levels,
No, it is.
You got another great shot. Tell us about this one.
That's George Avakian. George was probably the godfather of jazz. He did the Benny Goodman concert at Carnegie Hall, and he discovered Duke Ellington and Louis Armstrong. And George was in his 90s in that picture, and he and I were working together on a lot of things. And he's gone on, but a brilliant man, and produced some of the greatest jazz records of all time.
Absolutely.
And he'll always be, an icon in the jazz world for sure.
He certainly left his mark. Absolutely.
He did. He was great. He also was Miles Davis' manager for many, many years. So
that's right.
That's right. Yeah.
This shot. Tell us about this one.
This is Samantha Landrum. She was a young girl. I signed her at 15 years old. She was just an amazing, amazing singer. She had an album that came out on Sony and Reviver, and I produced it. And, she's just, what a terrific voice. And today she's raising babies, you know.
Yes. That's a little bit of a segue, right?
That's yeah.
To say,
yeah. But she, you know, she started young. I mean, she really had this incredibly commercial voice that was fabulous, and so it was fun to work with her as well.
Another cool one.
Yeah, it's our from CNN, and we were at another charity event, and somebody snapped that picture. I'm not even sure who did, but we were just hanging out.
There's cameras everywhere, right?
There are cameras. There's no privacy.
As soon as you step out of your house, there's cameras everywhere. They capture it all. Here's another cool shot.
Yeah, and that's Samantha's mom and myself and David. That's down in Alabama. We did a summer series down there where every week we were doing outdoor concerts down in Mississippi. Yeah, it was down in Mississippi in Jackson. It was wonderful. We had a lot of different country artists, and even Kansas played there one night with us. So it was fun. It was nice. I mean, very hot. You know, summer in Mississippi. Woo.
Oh yeah, forget it. Yes,
but it was great. It was fun. It was fun.
It's a nice one.
That's Juliana Woods, and oh God, I know the country singer. He's great too, and I produced him, and I'm failing on his name.
Oh, it happens to everybody.
It's Chuck Wicks. Chuck Wicks.
Oh, Chuck Wicks. That's right.
Yeah, and he's doing radio still. I think I think he's been on the country station in New York, but he was his music was terrific. And Juliana was married to Phil Vassar and has written some fabulous songs. She's a great songwriter and a wonderful artist herself, and she's down in Nashville, really very talented.
What would you consider as like one of your early big breaks in the entertainment industry? What was, one of the things that really opened the door for you, Dennis?
I was kind of just bouncing around a lot, and my attorney, Robert Rhine, said, "You have to come to this meeting with me. Like tomorrow in New York." I said, "Well, what's the meeting?" He says, "Well, got to meet with McCartney's people. They really want me to become part of this charity." And, and I said, "Oh God, McCartney. Yeah, I'll go do that anytime."
We'll be there in
so
a minute.
I was there all day, and they were talking about, it was the Garland Appeal at the time. And the Garland Appeal was the charity that was started by Sir Paul and a gentleman out of London. And it was to commemorate Linda's life and really be about the healing power of music. And they wanted somebody to run the U.S., so they had called my attorney about that. And at the end of the day, he finally just said, "Okay, well, I've heard it all, and I don't know, how much more I can do, but Dennis D'Amico can certainly." I was like, "I'm supposed to talk now?" I had no idea. I was just there. It was just an honor to be there and be around McCartney's team of people. And I kind of stood up and just said what I think we could do in this country to make it better, and save more lives. And and I got offered the executive director of the United States, and that was a pretty big break, because now I was working hand in hand with Sir Paul McCartney, and in doing charity events and producing records. And I ended up taking his piece Nova that he had written for Linda as a choral piece, and there was an orchestral adaptation that was done so that it was just for orchestra. And I was invited to Teatro Colón in Buenos Aires, and it's probably the top classical venue in the world, to do the world premiere there. And Roger Kellaway came down and conducted it for me, and we sold out 2 nights and got 5-star reviews. That was probably the kind of the springboard for me with my career. When I was blessed and got to work alongside, a master like Sir Paul McCartney.
Were you pinching yourself a bit?
Yeah, I was.
Still have the scars to prove it too, right?
That's right. Oh, plenty from this business. Yes.
That's incredible. So that would be a good door opening sort of situation, huh?
Yeah, I mean, this above me, framed in that gold frame, is all of the. That's from Teatro Cologne in the world premiere that night with Sir Paul. So I always keep that close to me.
Tell us about this fabulous studio room you're in and these, wonderful elements all around you.
Yeah, there's a lot. A lot has gotten created here. At this. This is, my workspace here, and it's on a lakefront property. So I look out these big windows, and I see just beauty all day. So it's quite conducive to creativity.
I was going to say, how does that inspire your music? Inspire you in any way?
Oh
Nature?
yeah,
And
yeah. I
what are
mean,
some of the
all
things
of it.
you pull from? Are you an
Absolutely.
observer of life?
Yeah, I mean, I lived in New York for many years, and that was fantastic because there was so much,
Well,
going
every
on in the
corner
streets,
you
on
have
the
something.
subways, and all
Yeah.
that. But here, it's another. It's another. Dimension. It's peace and nature, and bears and swans and foxes, and it's
That's just
it's
inside the house. What about
it's it's
outside?
it's quite, yeah, that's right. It's quite beautiful, and the lake is just really, it's a beautiful lake. It's Cranberry Lake in New
Oh,
Jersey, if anybody knows
yeah.
where that is. It's really a beautiful, really well kept secret from New York. It's only about 55 minutes from New York, and it's like you're in New England.
Yes, right, exactly. I also mentioned too that in addition to the entertainment itself and the performance, you migrated to the business side of show business, and you cast many Broadway shows:
Oh, I
"Singing
did.
in
Yeah.
the Rain," "Fiddler on the Roof," "It's a Wonderful Life," "This Firecracker Contest," "Three Musketeers," "Into the Light." What was that like? Being a part of the Broadway community and off Broadway
You
as
know,
well.
I love it. Theater is one of my, certain first loves with music in my life, and to, kind of immerse myself in that, and I kind of threw myself in the deep end and learned to swim, and working on casting all these shows was fantastic. I loved it. I got to meet great people and work with great people. Singing in the Rain alone, all the originals from the movie,
Yes.
pretty much. And Twyla Tharp was directing it. I mean, it was pretty sensational, for me. I mean, it was certainly at the time, it was the most expensive Broadway show at the time. It was 1985, I believe, and it was $6.5 million show.
Mhm.
And that was unheard of at the
Back
time.
then, yeah, that was sure.
It was raining on stage, and it was really quite the show. It did okay. I thought it would do better, but it did okay. Yeah.
But still, I mean, Fiddler on the Roof, I mean, so many of these iconic productions, huh?
Yeah, we did a lot of them. It was working with another good friend of mine, Chip Lavely, and then Mary Jo Slater, who's Christian Slater's mom. We were all
Ah,
partners in a
that's right.
casting company, and so we kind of were the go-to, group for Broadway. So we got a lot of that in film, and it was a lot of fun. It was a lot of fun, spending all day working with actors coming in and letting them know that we're here to support you. So many actors come in and go, "Oh my God, you're judging me," and it's all it. But we always made people feel very comfortable, and we had a great time, and I think cast some really well done shows, and film.
Film, yeah, talk about film. I mean, some of the iconic films we're talking about are extraordinary. And Out of Africa, of course, Best Picture, Out of Africa, Santa Claus the Movie, 9.5 Weeks, and A Woman or Two. Tell us about those.
Well,
Great names.
we worked with Lynn Stallmaster, and he was the West Coast office, and we were kind of the East Coast office. So, between the LA and the New York actors, so that was the best script I think I've ever had put on my desk, was Out of Africa. It was on my desk one morning, and I picked it up and I said, "Oh my God, this is this is an amazing script. And actually, what I first read is very different from what the movie is. They change things and all that. I thought the original script that I read was the best, but I think the movie's beautiful. Don't get me wrong, but that original script was quite sensational. And then Santa Claus the movie was wonderful. David Huddleston, terrific actor, also played in. Oh God, what was it with Jeff Daniels? He was the dude. It was the Big Lebowski. Well, David played the Lebowski. Then on 9.5 Weeks, that was a crazy movie. It was pretty nuts to work on that one. I could get into some good stories with you when we're not on camera. But and then A Woman or Two was the first real co-production between French and New York. It was like Paris and New York City, and it was the first time that French language and English language was in a film. It was Daniel Vigne who had done The Return of Martin Guerre and won the Academy Award. This was the follow-up movie, and Sigourney Weaver was in it, and Gerard Depardieu, and Dr. Ruth Westheimer was in it as well.
Dr. Ruth, yes.
Yeah. So it was fun because I was over in Paris, and and it's an absolutely it's a beautiful city. It's one of my favorite places on earth, and so it was really great to be over there and have some fun.
Do you like traveling? Do you like going, to?
I do. I've been a traveler my whole life. I've always, just enjoyed. I like traveling. I don't love living out of a suitcase, but I do like traveling.
Right, exactly. And now these days, the flights and the
that's not as fun as it used to be.
I've been on several of them lately, and I'm headed to Canada soon too. And there's no more non-stops anywhere. What happened to all the non-stop flights?
No,
you always got to lay over somewhere, And
right.
you got to make sure that when you lay over, you don't have it where you have only 20 minutes to get off one plane and then get on the next, because if that first plane is late or they're taxiing on the tarmac, or your next flight is on the other side of the airport, in gate C, and you're arriving at gate A, could be a problem.
God knows. I know it's not like it used to be. I mean, sometimes it does drive me nuts when I look at my ticket and go, oh my God, I have a half hour to get on the next flight. And these airports today, it's like 4 miles of walking to the next gate.
Right. Or running.
Oh my God.
And then you get on those sort of like flat escalators that pull you forward. And I just did some of that in coming back from California. We were in Denver.
No, those are good. Those are good. You can really make up some time on those,
But then when you're rushing, you always get that one person that stands there and blocks so you can't get past them.
Always.
They're not walking as it's going. They're just like,
those are the people that kind of sleepwalk,
Right. The world was only created for them.
That's correct.
And that's about it. Again, too, off-Broadway, you've contributed your talents to the productions of Stage Interlude, starring Glenda Jackson, and Aren't We All, with Rex Harrison, Claudette Colbert. I mean, working with names like that.
Yeah, it was a long time ago, a long time ago when I first really started. But, meeting them, it was because they were always icons. I was always a big Claudette Colbert fan, and, to meet her, and, Frank Capra was always Frank and I were working together when he, had his stroke, which was a shame because we had a film we were ready to do. But Claudette Colbert, that's where I got introduced really to her, was Frank Capra movies,
Do you still get to do some acting? Do you still get to?
I get asked every once in a while. I haven't done much lately. I would always consider it if it's a good role. Somebody called me the other day about doing this new movie. I don't know. I'm always interested for sure. But because I think it's a lot of fun. I think it's a lot of fun. I love it all. The music, producing, acting. I just think it's all. It's like you, Jim. You love the business.
Just love it.
That's what it's about.
Wear all these hats and.
I
Yeah,
don't feel like I've, really had a job my whole life. I've done what I love to do, and that is a blessing. And it's something that, I tell people all the time, just do what you love. The money will come, just do what you love and you'll excel,
exactly. Yeah, I've had this conversation with several guests, but you know what I miss is the jingles. I miss jingles, singing
Oh,
jingles, and
great,
the
great.
network promo jingles, and this radio TV
I
station
do too. I
jingles,
think they were
commercials.
great.
Yeah, everybody would sing, about dish detergent and soda. I'm a pepper, you're a pepper. Everything was singing, and they also had
Yeah.
these mascots, that went with it.
Oh, it's
Josephine the
great.
plumber, and Tony the tiger, and Charlie Sunkissed tuna, and they were
That's
all
right. They
Star-Kissed
were
tuna.
all great. They
Yeah,
were they were wonderful.
did you ever dabble in any of that world?
Yeah, I did. I wrote some jingles and I've sung on some jingles. It's a great business, and I had friends that were doing it. Peter Cofield has now passed on, but he did Lifesavers, A Part of Living, and he did a bunch of the really big ones. And so he was kind of a mentor to me when I first, started getting into writing jingles, and doing that.
Tell us about, you've worked on and provided music for lots of television commercials too. Tell us about that.
Well, yeah, sometimes it's just bed music,
Yeah, like
you're
underscore.
just laying a guitar part down or whatever, but it's a wonderful way to. It's kind of cinematic, because I think I take the commercials as short films, and you always want to match what's going on, and you know. This Saturday, I'm at an art gallery in New York, and I'm going to be playing uh, improvisationally and spontaneously to this artist that's going to be creating visuals. So it should be a challenge, and it should be fun. you know.
Oh, that's cool. Do you
Yeah, I
do
just
that
got
a
asked
lot?
to
Do you
do
get
that
to do that a
yesterday.
lot?
So
Do you
I'm
do that?
sorry.
Do you get to do that a lot?
And the only other time that I did something like that was I was asked to play at this big fashion show, and I said, well, okay, what do I play? Oh, whatever that
Whatever you're feeling.
whatever they're wearing, whatever it brings out of you. And I was like, oh God. And yet I had a blast and it went really well. So I like just trying to do anything. It's just fun. Don't try to take it too seriously and just go out there and try to be creative and be in that moment and collaborate, you know.
Exactly right. Yes. You've also, as I mentioned in the introduction a little bit, you've worked with some other iconic artists, REO Speedwagon and Nigel Kennedy, the Dregs, Steve Morse, Larry Carell, and Steve Walsh of Kansas, the Marshall Tucker Band, and Fred Turner of Bachman Turner Overdrive, and you served as executive producer of the Garland Music Series. Tell
Right.
us tell us about that as well.
Well, the Garland Music Series was a series of, projects that was through the McCartney and MPL and Sir Paul and Stephen Connick out of London. And everything we did was to raise money for breast cancer and children with cancer. So the first album I did, I worked with all these independent artists. Some of them have gone on to do pretty well. But I in it was all about breast cancer then, but it expanded into children's cancer as well. But that was it was certainly a labor of love, because that's really what it's all about for me. I still like to discover new artists, young artists, or it doesn't matter really their age, but I work with a lot of young people and people that want their music to be heard, and I really like finding wonderful artists. I am always saying, well, the songwriters are really where it's at. Where's the next Elton John? Where's the next John Lennon? Where's the next Paul McCartney? Those are, and they're out there. It's just, it's hard to find people now because it's so saturated with, a lot of the music sites and everything. I don't have the time to really go through them all. So people send me stuff all the time. They either send me music or they send me scripts, and it's great. I love it.
Now, do you love music that's, or maybe you love it all, being such a music audiophile and a lover of music, period. Do you love digital, or are you still somebody who loves real instruments, musicians right there before you?
Yeah, well, at the recording studio that I'm partners in, there's really no digital. Well, there is one digital console, and that's the SSL, and it's the world's largest. It's 96 channels, but all of our stuff is analog. There's Neves, there's Helios, there's Wally Hyders. For anybody who knows those things, Wally Hyder, that particular console was the console that recorded Crosby, Stills, and Nash and Young's Deja Vu album. It did Spirit in the Sky. It did a lot of Beach Boy records. So what we have is pretty historic stuff. The Neve was the one from the Hit Factory, and now we've added to that, and it was the one that John Lennon did his last records on. So we have some really wonderful gear, and Brian Yelinko and Sherry Spiro are my partners in Audio Garden, and it's a really wonderful studios, and one is built, and now there's 2 or 3 more that are coming right behind it. So it's mostly analog. So I do like digital. Digital makes it easy, to edit.
Yes.
But there's just something that is really warm. Yeah, I don't want to be using a razor blade splicing tape anymore.
Tape and reel to reel.
So in that way, I think digital is phenomenal. What you can do edit wise in music is pretty phenomenal as compared to what you used to have to do. But back in the day, you just never let a singer or a performance, what I'm trying to say is they could sing, and you didn't have to worry about fixing the pitch and all that stuff. If you got a great take, that was it. But today, I can fix pretty much anything. When somebody goes a little pitchy, don't worry, we can fix it in the mix. And you can do a lot today where you really could not back then. If you couldn't perform live, you really shouldn't be in the recording studio back in the day.
Right, exactly. Got another photo here. Tell us about this. Look at that.
That's Tommy Emmanuel, probably one of the greatest guitar players in the world. And he's signing my
at PBS. He is a class act.
Isn't he great, Jim?
Yes,
he is. And a sweetheart, an absolute sweetheart.
When I met him, he was performing, and I think I was the MC on behalf of the public television station. And who was there was Greg Walker, who is the son of the original animator for the cartoon strip Beetle Bailey, and he continues the Beetle Bailey cartoon strip today. And Greg was there because he was a fan of Tommy Emmanuel's as well.
No, Tommy is, I'm a guitar player, and this guy is masterful. I mean, he is just a brilliant guitar player. And if any of you out there want to watch somebody just master the instrument, just check out Tommy Emmanuel. He's brilliant and a beautiful guy.
Nice
beautiful
guy, approachable.
Oh, he is. He's great.
Affable, and here's another great shot. Now look at what we've got here.
Well, that's me with George Martin, and of everything that I've done in my life, that's to me the biggest blessing is to have become as good friends as I was with George Martin, and that's his wife Judy, and just to sit and talk the Beatles and talk about the things that we were lucky to be producers, and George was just one of the most humble, brilliantly talented people that I've ever met, and God knows his work is beyond belief when you listen to the Beatles to this day.
For the folks that aren't familiar with who Sir George Michael is, tell us about him.
Well, George Martin that's Wham. He was both of them are fantastic.
Sir George Martin, right? That's both
but
coming
George
from
Martin
England.
was he was the producer that basically, when the Beatles came and auditioned, he got it. He said these lads could sing, and that's what he told me. He goes, I could tell right away. And I said, well, were you arranging those harmonies? He said, no, they came in and the lads could sing. So that he was really doing comedy records, with Peter Sellers and
Mm-hmm.
Dudley Moore
Dudley Moore.
so I think they kind of just said, well, we'll just throw him these guys. Who knows what's going to happen? Because George did a lot of classical records, but
Yes.
never had done a pop band, and he just brought all of that expertise and brilliance to them. And God knows he was the fifth Beatle. I mean, their
Really,
sound was certainly co-created by him.
by Sir George Martin.
Yeah. Yeah,
Absolutely.
so he's been an icon forever, and somebody that I just,
Revered.
long to meet. And when I
Mhm.
finally got the chance, and his daughter got, she was in, she got engaged in my lake house.
Did she really?
Yeah, yeah, she was staying here for the weekend, and
If that lake
the
house
gentleman
could
she
talk,
was with asked her to marry him, and we opened the champagne,
and
and
there you
she
go.
said yes.
If that lake
So
house could talk.
that's right. That's
That's
right.
another great shot. Tell us what we're seeing here.
Well, Barbara Hubbard is an icon in this business. She's
Mhm.
the lady with the white hair like me. And she is now 95 years old and still producing. She's won Polestar's, producer of the year. And I started with her. She was my manager at the age of 18.
Wow.
So we were down in Nashville, and Polestar asked us to be on this panel
Mhm.
about, you know, um, live performance and concerts and producing concerts and all of that. So that was down in Nashville.
That's incredible. That's fantastic. The opportunities that you've had with so many different people, 50 years in this industry. I mean, and it's not the easiest industry on the planet, but like you say, if you love it,
No,
you'll
that's what keeps
you'll
you going,
that's what keeps you going.
you know.
Here's a great shot. Tell us about this.
That's Yon Mei Hu, a classical pianist from China, and I've produced probably 3 or 4 of her records. We did a sold out show at Lincoln Center, and we're thinking of bringing her back east again this spring for a couple of concerts.
Oh, that would be fantastic.
Yeah. That was a concert I did with Chevy Chase down in
Yeah.
Phoenix. It was to raise money for children with cancer, and uh, we did that at the Orpheum Theater, and it was Bobby Caldwell and Chevy Chase and Tom Scott and Kenny Rank, and it was a great night. Paulette McWilliams,
Ah,
and we had a blast. And Chevy was just fantastic. What a great guy he was, and he was sick when he flew in, and he still was just stellar and taking the stage and being Chevy. Being as silly as he
right.
can be. You know? But he started the night out uh, playing piano, and no one knew it was him because I had a very small pin spot on stage, and they couldn't tell it was him. And as I
Ah,
opened it, they said, "Oh my God, that's Chevy Chase playing!" And then when he gets up from playing this serious piece, he had to, he did one of his, pratfalls across the stage. He was great. He really was.
that is
And at the
cool.
end of the night, his agent had negotiated this fee, which I was never really happy about. And Chevy said, "What did he ask for?" And I told him, and he goes, "They give it to the kids." Chevy never took a dime. He was great. And it
Wow.
was significant money. So
Isn't
my hat's off to Chevy Chase always. He's a beautiful guy. He's been
isn't
a
that
nice friend.
yeah, that's class, right? That's class act stuff, right?
Yeah, it is. It
That's
really is, Jim. Yeah.
that's beautiful to hear that. I mean, didn't have to, but he did. Here's
No.
also another
Oh,
project.
this was a great band, Leo. They were
Yeah.
fantastic.
Yeah.
They were signed on Dreammakers Records, and I produced that record with them, and they were terrific. They were um, they never really made it as big as they could have, but boy, they were on their way. And then they just, bands are kind of an interesting dynamic, you know.
Yeah.
So if they can stay together, when they're that good, you can make it. But they kind of fell a little short. But great musicians in that band, and one of my favorites of all time.
That's fantastic. Yeah. Again, like I said, you've touched all these different genres of music as well over the years.
Yeah, and this is traditional Thai music that Jason Crisaro, who is now passed away, he was my engineer that did all my records with me. Jason was brilliant. Won the Grammy for Bring Me a Higher Love
Oh,
with
yeah.
Stevie Winwood.
Oh,
And
yeah.
this was brought to us by Peter Gabriel. Peter
Mm.
is very involved in, international and kind of native music to the country. And they sent this to us to mix. And so it was really interesting to work in such a foreign sounding music and, and create what we did. And they were very happy with it. So it was a fun project, very different, very different.
You mentioned the Orpheum Theater. The Orpheum Theater is definitely iconic. I had an opportunity to
Oh, it's beautiful.
work on co-host a PBS special with PBS at the Orpheum Theater, and David Foster was there, and he was producing music of the movies with the young talent Jackie Avanco. It was one of her PBS
Yeah,
specials, and I was
yeah,
co-hosting that, and some of the PBS pledge breaks and more from the Orpheum
yeah,
Theater. More that we were shooting from one of
yeah.
the balconies, and it's a iconic location to
It
see,
really is. It's a beautiful deco theater. It's
isn't it?
beautiful. Yeah,
It still
yeah,
has that charm. Here's a shot with you and Chevy Chase.
yeah. That's Chevy.
So where was this one?
That was in Phoenix at the Orpheum Theater
It
backstage.
is back there,
Yeah,
right?
yeah. That's
That's
perfect. Perfect. You did that beautifully, Jim. We're
thank you.
talking the Orpheum, and there it
And then
is.
there it is. I tell you, that's it. Tell us about this.
That's a children's project, Alphabet Kids, and Yeo
God, you have your
Mayhew.
hands in everything.
We had Yeo Mayhew. She did all the classical, beautiful movements, and I produced it. And it's really to have your baby fall asleep at night, and it worked tremendously. People would always tell me, "Oh my God, my kid! Oh, he falls asleep in 5 minutes when this
Yeah.
record's on." So it was fun to do, and
Question, does it
it
work
was
for
for all
adults
those
too?
mothers that are begging for something to help them
Will it work for
keep the
adults
baby from
too?
crying and go to sleep.
Will it work for the adults too?
Well, I think so.
Probably, right?
It probably
Because a
would.
lot
It's
of
beautifully
people,
played.
you
Yeo
know,
May is a beautiful classical,
well, with the pandemic, a lot of people
pianist.
lost a lot of sleep. So, they're still trying to
Yeah,
get their sleep back. So
that's right.
whatever it
That's
takes
it.
to help, there you go, folks. Look, now where can they get that? Is that
It's probably online and Amazon, I would
yeah,
imagine. Most of these you can find on Amazon. You know,
yeah, that's cool. So look for these things, gang. Here's another
and that was the cover was done by Peter Max, and that's Linda McCartney.
that's nice.
And the 40-foot stage drop that he did was beautiful. He's done that with me a few times. Peter and I are really dear friends, and he's a beautiful artist, and I've always loved his work. And again, he would come on board and do these things for free. And Peter Max is a very high-paid artist, so
Yes.
I was really lucky to have a
To,
friendship like I have with Peter, and he's always been very supportive of any of the charity events that I've produced.
that was another great.
That's a great record. This was done on Reviver and Sony, and it was, 6 Grammy award-winning Americana artists, and we produced them doing McCartney tunes, just like the last one with Linda on the cover.
Mhm.
We got, different artists and had them interpret the songs. So it was a heck of a lot of fun and a really, really great project. And that's a really great record. Those 2 records are really worth owning. They're really terrific.
Also executive and producer, and you have championed through Let Us In the campaign, the tribute recordings that we're talking about, tribute concerts, television shows that commemorate Linda's life. That has become, or that has continued to be something very special for you, huh?
Oh, yeah, definitely. Definitely. Number one, Linda McCartney was a beautiful human being, and her legacy needs to live on, and
You're still
Sir
staying
Paul as
active.
well. I mean, it's talk about royalty. I mean, that's the family. The McCartney family is
So you
pretty
still stay in
amazing.
touch with him, with Sir
And
Paul.
Paul continues to just do amazing things. At
Yeah.
80 years old.
It's hard to believe that, huh?
It's amazing.
That
It's
is
amazing. He's still
absolutely.
going at it, and it does amaze me.
What are some things you're working on now?
I'm working on a show that um, I interviewed Lena Pepitone, who was Marilyn Monroe's best friend and best kept secret for many, many years. I interviewed her, and now we're looking to do a mini series with that because it dispels so many of the Marilyn Monroe, myths. She lived with Marilyn for the last 6.5 years of her life, 24/7. So she had an insight on it, and it was great, to meet her and then, have the wherewithal to make sure I filmed it and all that. So I have all of that, and the stories are just amazing. Mark Medoff, who wrote Children of a Lesser God, he and I created a stage show as well, and it's supposed to be opening in London, but I haven't heard when. But it's been taken to London, so that should be interesting. I'm working with Gino Vanelli, another amazing artist, with a new project that
Oh
he's doing.
yeah, he's been around a long
Oh,
time.
he hasn't lost anything. That voice is amazing to this day. He's like Kenny Loggins. It's like, where do you keep that voice? It's like amazing. So I'm working on that and still, building the recording studios and, working on some technology companies. I stay pretty busy, you know.
Well, we're gonna put you to work. You want to perform something for us with your
I
beautiful
can.
guitar?
I mean, I don't know what
Yeah.
it's going to sound like, but,
What
you
would you
know.
like to perform? Tell us first. Show us the beautiful guitar.
Oh, yeah, this is my. Um, I'm a Martin artist. I love Martin, and I've been playing on these for many, many years. And this is a OM 42, and it's
Sounds nice.
quite the guitar.
Yeah,
Does that sound okay? I mean,
it
I
sounds
can't.
really good. When did you? Was that the first instrument you learned? Was that the
It
very first
was, yeah.
guitar?
I write on piano here and there, but mostly I'm a guitar player. You know,
Yeah.
and this song is it's kind of a jazz feel to it. I write everything from country to jazz to funk to blues, and I've been writing for so long. But I thought that "Cool to Be in Love" would be kind of a nice tune to
Very
just kind of
nice.
go.
Coming from the lakefront home in New Jersey, Dennis D'Amico on the Jim Masters Show. There he is.
Well, love's so quiet, not disturb it and goodbye it. You got to keep your cool when you're in love. And somehow, someway, I am going to find a way to sneak up on your heart. I'm going to make you mine. Well, think about me, baby, 'cause I'm thinking about you. And I know I look rather shady, but didn't Bogart too? Don't deny it, don't knock love till you've tried it. I think it's kinda cool to be in love. Yeah, I think it's kinda cool to be in love. Love's so quiet, I just go by it. You got to keep your cool when you're in love. You got to keep your cool when you're in love. Think about me, baby. I'm thinking about you. I know I look rather shady, but didn't Bogart too? Don't deny it. Don't duck love till you've tried it. I think it's kinda cool to be in love. Oh, I think it's kinda cool to be in love. I'm in love.
really nice.
Got to get my headphones
Yeah.
back on because
The earring fell out. Right. Yeah, the earring fell out, right?
Well, that's right. You know,
That's it.
that's what I love about live. You know, there's no going back. The
Mm.
show must go on.
You want to play something else? That sounded really nice, my friend. They're loving it.
Well, let's see.
You got
What else
hearts
do I-
coming in from Jane in Sweden, one of our regular lovities. And Sharon in Kansas says, what a fantastic voice. Thank you. In Maryland, Pam Stubbs gives you all kinds of hearts and thumbs up. And Kathleen in New York City, our JMS lovity, says, very nice. Tommy Reed is enjoying it as well. Pam says, my kind of music. Maureen in Arizona, who knows very well the Orpheum in Arizona.
Well, thank you.
Fabulous, and thank you, Dennis. So yeah, they're liking it. Yeah.
Oh, well, that's good. That's fun. I'll try one more too and see how we can get through this.
You're a pro.
When you feel like your whole soul is shaking, the top of your head barely stays on. And when you feel so far away, only you know where you are. Isn't it a shame no one looks and sees? And when did I disappear? All those times you left me waiting here while I'm still standing. Yeah, but not as tall. Yeah, I'm not as strong as I maybe used to be. I'm not as understood well at all. But I'm still standing. I'm still standing here. When you feel like your world's been taken right in the blink of an eye, well, though your heart is barely beaten, only you know why. Once upon a time, this all made sense to me, but times are fickle, friend, you know, 'cause it begins and it ends. And as you can see that I'm still standing, no, but not as tall. Well, I'm not as strong as I maybe used to be. I'm not as understood well, at all. That I'm still standing. Yeah, I'm still standing here. Oh no. Yeah, and I won't go down, 'cause I'm still standing here.
Really nice, my friend. Really nice.
Oh, well, thank you.
You know, and your voice. Oh, I like the way you said that. Oh, well, thank you. Suddenly it was like a Johnny Cash or something.
I'm always in black, and then
Are you
people call
sure?
me that. They look at me, Johnny Cash.
I was going to say, you sure you're not in a lakefront property in like Kentucky or something? It
Yeah,
certainly
God
seems
knows.
that way. Wow, I had both headphones in because I wanted to hear it in full. Uh,
Well, I hope
we're
it sounded okay. It's kind of
yeah,
just, whatever is coming through this iPad
the
here.
system there. Yeah, absolutely. Wonderful lyrics. Jane and
Thank
Maureen
you,
just
Jane.
having a blast. Jim loved the serenading. And also, now that was superb, very touching. Maryland and in not Kentucky, but Canada.
Oh, that's cool.
Yepper. She says Yepper.
All right.
And with the Canadian
That's great.
accent. And Kathleen, all kinds of cool emojis and loving it as well. And Sherry in Kansas says, your voice has a Peter, Paul, and Mary-esque sound to it.
That's
Very
interesting.
cool.
Yeah,
Yeah.
well,
Yeah. First time I heard that. Yeah. They were iconic. Of course, Paul and Peter are still with us. I had an opportunity to interview all three on PBS, but
oh, that's great.
Mary was amazing. Mary was a real hoot. Just such a dry sense of humor she had. Jane says great voice. Pam says great lyrics. I think it's kind of cool that you sang for us.
Oh, well, that's my pleasure.
Yeah, sweet sounds. Tommy Reed says I agree 110%. So like I said, you work on so many different kinds of music as well. Is there a genre that you haven't tapped into yet?
Uh, yeah, I don't think I'll ever rap, you know. Yeah. I've actually played on
Want
some
to give it
rap
a shot
tunes,
now?
but oh, God
I
knows,
know.
I couldn't. It would be so embarrassingly bad, I'm
I'm on the
sure,
Jim Masters show. Yeah, I love the Jim Masters show.
I have friends that are rappers, and they're great. I mean, Hassan is one of my dear friends. He's a great rapper, and he's just, to me, one of the best because he's so melodic.
Right.
He's just, he and Danny Aiello used to do this whole thing together. Danny would do his thing, and then in the middle of that, that American Songbook tune, Hassan would take off and rap, and it was great. I produced him, and we had him on stage with us at the Apollo Theater, and they tore it up. It was great. It was so much fun.
You've worked with, again, our mutual friend who we want to give a big, big thanks to, of course, the incomparable Ronald Rand. And
Oh, he's a great guy.
tell us about some of the things you've worked on with him and how the two of you came together.
Well, we came together. He came and approached me about a new opera that he was writing the libretto for, Ibsen. And I really got interested in it and ended up coming on as the producer. So, and then COVID hit, which stopped our tour. We were supposed to open in India and then move to Thailand and Indonesia and the Philippines. And, COVID hit. So, we're kind of working on the piece and getting it finished and getting ready to get it back out there and hopefully do this tour. And there's some opera houses around the world. I mean, I'm working with different opera houses and all through Europe. I work with a lot of the orchestras. So with Michael Polo, he's a wonderful composer. And so we have some opera houses that are getting interested again. So some of them still aren't open.
Right, because of everything, right?
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
You also worked on a ballet too. Was that the one that was at Lincoln Center?
Yes, yeah, with Robert Rhines.
Yes.
He's a composer. Did a lot of Broadway shows of Paul Shires. If anyone remembers his name, he did the show about Mara LaGuardia. But Bob used to write all the incidental music, and he composed this ballet. And I went to some dancers at City Ballet, New York City Ballet, that I knew, and got them interested. And then one choreographed and got a lot of the dancers, and some from Julio Boca's company out of Argentina. So it was really a world-class event. It was really beautiful. Really was wonderful, and an honor to work with Robert Rhines. He's a brilliant, brilliant man. Talk about somebody who did so many things. He was a composer. He was an inventor. He was the top copyright and trademark attorney in the world, and he taught at MIT. I mean, it was the guy was just, never stopped. He was like a mentor to me. A really great friend.
That's so fantastic. If we were to come over to the lake front house there, and we
There
were
you
to
go.
go through your maybe your iPad or possibly your record player or your music collection, what would we find in Dennis's collection? A little of everything?
Yeah, a little of everything from jazz to classical to pop to, country. Yeah, you would find pretty much a little of everything. A lot of R&B. I'm a big R&B fan. So yeah, I mean, it's kind of where, like what I write, I mean, it's a wide spectrum. I mean, it's just whatever happens when you start working. I don't really sit down to write, oh, I'm going to write a country song today. No, I just play and play. And after a few hours, you just start going to another zone and things start happening. You find progressions that you find interesting. And then you begin the process of just getting the melody down and singing gibberish if you have to, and then you go back, and sometimes that gibberish has a couple of good lines in it, and that's kind of my process. It just kind of happens spontaneously, and then it's a work in progress from that point on. Even when you think a song is finished, you can perform it live one night and do something a little different and go, wow, I got to do that from now on every time I play that song. That's what's wonderful about music. It's just like an actor doing a Broadway show every night. He's not going to do the same performance every night. It's going to find, different nuances, with every performance.
Are you still casting as well?
I really haven't cast much at all. I'm working on a new Broadway show called 1969 with Michael Rubenstein and Paul Bartik, and like it's all about Woodstock. So they really want me to be involved in the casting of the musical artists because we have to find artists that can really sound like Joni Mitchell and sound like Jimi Hendrix and sound like Sly. So that's going to be a challenge, and so yeah, I'll be probably very involved in the casting on that one.
Boy, that sounds exciting. I don't think anything like that has been attempted on
It hasn't.
stage.
It's overwhelming, but
Wow.
we're moving forward. We've done a reading, and we think that we have something that could be very, very attractive to a lot of the people that were at Woodstock, and certainly the ones that wish maybe they had been.
Yeah, there's, what's interesting about this is generationally, a lot of folks are discovering music from the past.
Yeah,
There's the access to it now, and they're really, there's a lot of, like you say, the analog, a lot of discovering vinyl, a lot of discovering music that maybe their parents grew up with or grandparents or
sure.
whoever, and they're liking it. They're like, wow, is this stuff brand new? Sometimes I love it when I'm with some friends and a TV commercial's on, and the TV commercial is sampling, a very popular song from the 70s or what have you. And
Yeah,
they're like,
yeah.
oh, I like that rhythm. I like that beat. I like that. Is that new? And I'm like, that actually came out in 1976.
I know it's phenomenal, but I like to see that because I think, a lot of that composition was so good, that it's great that, a younger generation gets it too, it's all about the song, and, you have these wonderful tunes that were written that to this day, they stand up, I mean, when you listen to something like, Somewhere Over the Rainbow, I'm just trying to plug this in because I can see it's unplugged.
Yeah.
Somewhere Over the Rainbow, I don't care, who you are, it's a brilliantly written song. It's like Penny Lane. When McCartney wrote this song that is about as perfect a song as I've ever heard. I mean, it's just lyrically, and the melody is just, it just hits you in a place that you, I love music because it's the only invisible art form. It hits you in places that, nothing else does, you can't see it, but boy, it's powerful. And
Do you love instrumental? music?
I do. I
Me
do.
too.
I mean, like Tommy Emmanuel's fabulous, but then I love listening to classical music, and Manuel Barrueco is a
You like
brilliant,
the orchestral
brilliant,
sounds as well.
classical guitarist, and I love orchestral. I mean, I just love working with classical musicians. They're really a different breed, and
Yeah.
I'm far from being a classical musician. I've written some classical stuff, but it's I'm not a classical concert you know uh, performer by any means.
Did you like the
You know.
Henry Mancinis
Oh, I
and
did.
Mercy
Brilliant.
Faiths and all of
Yeah.
them?
Oh no.
Yeah.
All of that is, it was in my house. I mean, that was
Yeah.
the big bands and the orchestras were listening to Sinatra albums and Nat King Cole albums. They always had beautiful orchestrations,
Yeah.
really. So
Nelson Riddle and people like
yeah,
that. Yeah.
yes, Nelson Riddle. I mean, one of the best. I mean, Burt Bacharach is just a
Bacharach.
phenomenon. And I love the Elvis Costello Burt Bacharach record. That's a great record. I don't know how many people know about it, but it's pretty amazing.
That's
Just
good.
like I have another thing. I always plug Kenny Loggins. Kenny Loggins wrote, and well, he did probably one of the best Christmas albums ever done. It's called December, and he said, "Yeah, Dennis, you and 9 other people bought it." But I'm telling you,
I
it's
have it.
it's an
Fantastic.
absolutely gorgeous record, beautifully produced and
Mhm.
sung. Yeah.
Yes. Yeah.
I always tell him every year, I just finished listening to your album,
Yeah.
so it's officially the holiday season. He always sends me back something that's laughing. you know.
That music always sounds so good if you need a pick. I know people, and even I have listened to, because I like music, period. I'll
Oh
listen to
yeah,
Christmas music no matter what time of year it is. It doesn't necessarily just have to be,
no,
if it's all that good stuff. Although on the radio these days, it does seem like they're playing only the same 12 songs,
they do.
and they don't play anything secular anymore. You don't
No,
hear the "Oh Come All You Faithful." You hear more of
yeah,
just "Deck the Halls," which I love too. But you're not hearing some of the angels we have heard on high, and some of these really
no, they're
beautiful.
beautiful pieces of music.
Yeah,
They're like a part of our hearts and souls. We grew up, in elementary school singing all those songs.
that's what I
Always.
tell people. I say what happens during the course of the 12 months, the good, the bad, the ugly, the tragedies, the triumphs, all the fabulous things, all the sad things, every year around Thanksgiving to December to New Year's, it's always so reliable that here comes the Christmas music again. These
Yeah, it is. It's
lullaby
great.
like tunes that we've heard since birth, that have always surrounded us and enveloped us in such a warm way, no matter what went on from January all the way up. Still, every year, here's what returns, these lullaby, comforting sounds, which I think is fantastic. And I noticed during the pandemic, um, people couldn't get Christmas here fast enough. They were
Yeah.
playing the music earlier. They were wanting the feeling of the holidays sooner, just to get lighter and to get more loving and caring,
Mm.
and to have that music envelop them,
That's what it's all about.
which
I
is.
know, that music is like a
Have you done
spiritual
Christmas music
annuity.
yourself?
You know, um,
Have you done
but
Christmas music as
I
well?
have, I have, and my daughter Giovanna, she would start listening to Christmas September 1st if she could. Believe me, she's just a Christmas fanatic. She loves that music, which I love because she's only 17 years old and she loves these classic songs. She knows them, so it's great. It's
So she,
beautiful songwriting. I mean, it's beautiful songwriting.
these iconic songs that you hear, coming back year after year, and still
They're
can be
wonderful.
interpreted so many different ways, and sometimes they still sound fresh, which is really amazing.
Absolutely.
It's really cool stuff.
It
Um,
really is.
what are some of those blessings and joys in your life that keep you doing this? You've been doing this for 50 years. You can easily have your feet in the sand. You could be swinging in a hammock with a banana colada in your right hand in South Beach in Miami or something, but you're still out doing your thing because you love it. What are some of those blessings and joys that keep you wanting to stay connected and creative?
Well, it's live audiences. I still play. I play with a trio or I play with a duo. I do a lot of solo stuff as well. And it's that bridge from the stage to the audience that keeps me going to this day. I love live performance. That's why I'm such a theater, fanatic and music, because they're live. There's no, okay, take two, it's, I love the sharing that energy with an audience. I think that's what makes it magic, for me, it's just, having people appreciate what you do, I think that's a huge thing, to get acknowledged here and there and just have people say thank you. And to me, that's worth every bit of any money you can make. I mean, it's really about that's what the arts are all about, music and entertainment. It should be about making people feel really good and make people think and make people feel and love, that to me is where it's at.
It's one of the reasons why I love doing live too, live television, live radio,
Absolutely.
series live. There's just, because anything can happen, and there is that energy, the adrenaline of that. It's kind of like a sport. You got to work to make sure everything goes
Sure.
as smooth as possible, and if it doesn't, then you're brought to the forefront, and you got to work through it on the spot, and all the cylinders are firing and the adrenaline is firing, and I think it's just really fantastic.
No, it is great. There's nothing like it.
Feeding off the energy of the audience, and absolutely. There's somebody here that wanted to stop by quick just to say he's thoroughly enjoyed this conversation. Mr. George Burns is with us.
All right, George. Great. I love George.
My aunt collected dolls. She was a serious doll collector, as I mentioned on the show. And this was one of the dolls she spent a fortune on, and it got passed down to me. He's here with he's got his cigar, his red hanky. He hangs down below with his big martini, and he said,
now that sounds good.
He thoroughly enjoyed this conversation. He said,
well, thanks, George.
An amazing talent, and he's learned so much more about you as well. And he sends his love, and from Gracie as well.
I like it.
You can't go wrong with George.
No, you can't go wrong with George and Gracie. That's for sure.
This is fantastic. Well, I hope you enjoyed the time with me as much as I
Absolutely, I did. And you let me know. I'll always come back and do more.
Yeah, I always say we'll keep the porch light on for you, and maybe one day we'll do it from the lakefront house.
That sounds good. We can do that anytime.
That would be really nice. You are the best, and I want to let folks know that I do music. Well, I love the name of that. I do music net. And yes, he does do music. idomusic.net is the website. Keep you abreast of all the cool things he's working on, things he has worked on. There's photos and videos and all kinds of cool stuff. And Dennis D'Amico is my very special guest, celebrated composer, record producer, show producer, and so much more. Brilliant to have you here. We'll keep the porch for you. And truly, I hope the show met whatever expectations you had.
Yeah, well, thanks for having me. It did. I had a lot of fun. It's great to be on the show with you, and anytime I'm here.
And thanks for performing for us too, Maureen.
No problem.
She says, this has been a lot of fun. Thank you so much for being in Loveity Hall, which is, I explained the whole Loveity thing to Dennis and how that happened this evening. Dennis, and for your wonderful music, please come back soon. God bless.
Oh, thank you.
Maureen's in Arizona, and Kathleen says, thanks for being here, Dennis. Take care and good luck with everything. And Anne is watching in Southern California. Another great conversation. Anne Haraxon, thank you very much for being here as well. We love it. And everybody with all these great comments.
No, it's great. Well, thank you all for sticking around and listening to Jim and I go at it.
That's it, exactly. Spread the word about the Jim Masters Show. We would love
Absolutely.
that. And we thank, again, our dear friend Ronald Rand for his love and support of our show as well, and connecting.
Absolutely.
He's truly the best. You be well, my friend. You take care now.
Thank you, Jim.
And go get a sandwich. You've earned it. You sang for your supper.
Thank you. Thank you. I got to go feed my dog.
You thought he would bark.
He's been very good. He's been very good tonight.
He's been patient.
Spencer, come on in.
What a cool name. What kind of dog?
He's a Maltese Bichon, a white fluff ball.
How long have you had him?
12 years.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
So a trusted family friend for sure.
Oh, no, he's part of the family, that boy. That's for sure.
Dennis, you're the best. Truly, thanks for all the time.
Thanks, Jim.
And congratulations on an exemplary career. And we expect to hear more from you, okay?
I hope so.
You be well, okay?
All right. Thank you, Jim.
Cheers.
Cheers.
The incomparable Dennis D'Amico here on the show. And wow, was that not cool? I mean, you got a chance to really learn about an extraordinary talent on so many different levels. And it was really great to have him here. And got a chance to talk a lot about his background, new projects, folks he's worked with, Sir Paul McCartney and Chevy Chase, and you listed, he's done it: film, television, stage, commercials. Really fantastic. Oh, and look who is here. Maybe I can bring him, maybe I'll bring Dennis back quickly because we can acknowledge this, which would be really, really nice. Let's see. Actually, let me see if I can just pull this up here. You know who's here watching? And Dennis is still down on the queue, so he can see this. Ronald Rand is in the house. Ronald, good to see you as well. And yes, Dennis is amazing, as are you, my friend. Thanks for being with us. And thank you so much for your love and support of the Jim Masters Show Live series. He's a big fan of our show. He was a guest on our show, a fabulous guest as well. And Ronald, I hope you're doing well. And truly, thanks for everything. Let's take a look at a few more comments coming in here. Our Wi-Fi is a little funky tonight, I think. The weather might be a little wacky out there. But we're going to take a look at some more comments. Let's see what we got here. Welcome back, Ronald. Yes, from Maureen. Let's take a look at a few more of our viewer comments and see what we've got here. Tommy, with a lot of comments are pouring in. Tommy says, good night, everyone. You're a terrific, Jim. Awesome guest, Dennis. Thank you very much. Merlin says, Dennis is a lovety now. And Maureen says, welcome back, Ronald, as we said. And Ronald Rand says, a joy hearing and learning so much about Dennis. Thank you so much, Ronald. I know, we had George Manel on from Strawberry Alarm Clock, that very famous group. His brother posted on our YouTube channel underneath the episode, and we encourage you to like, comment, and subscribe, everybody. He posted that he watched the episode with his brother, George Manel, from Strawberry Alarm Clock, that famous group. And he learned more about his brother by watching our show and things he didn't even know, which I think is very, very cool. You always find such amazing guests. Thank you, Ann. We work very hard behind the scenes to give you only the best on JMS, as we always say, the Jim Masters Show. And Kathleen Walker says, great show. Thank you, Jim. The pleasure is all mine. Thank you so very much. Jane in Sweden says, thanks, Dennis, for being here tonight, telling your stories and singing for us. Thanks, Jim. Have fun. You as well. And have him back. Oh, thanks, Jim. Have him back. That's what it says. Love it. And Pam says, yes. The puppy is on the other side of the door, Merlin. He is waiting to be fed. He's waiting to be fed. You guys are great. All great comments, all great folks tuning into our show. We thank Dennis D'Amico, coming to us from the Lakefront House in New Jersey, Cranberry Lake, renowned record producer, show producer, and composer, joining us here exclusively on the Jim Masters Show. There he is again. If you joined us late, with Chevy Chase and so many others. Jeff Daniels, who's worked with, talked a lot about Kenny Loggins, and of course, Paul Schaefer. I didn't know Dennis was Ronnie Spector's agent in 1980. I didn't know that. That's fascinating to me. He's done it all, hasn't he? He sure has, Dennis. There's Paul Schaefer, of course, from the David Letterman Show, the band leader, and so much more. And of course, his own fabulous career. Just so many incredible people that we've shown here, iconic people. And really terrific show, and great having everybody here and having all of you here as well. Just want to show you some folks that are going to be stopping by our show. Coming up tomorrow, Alexia Ray Castillo is here. She is an extraordinary model, actress. She's also a licensed cosmetologist too. She's been all the magazines. She's been on television. She's a fabulous person. She's all excited, and she's going to be here tomorrow exclusively on the show. Again, renowned American model, actress, and licensed cosmetologist as well. Maybe she'll give you some skincare tips. She's really cool. Just Google her. You'll see who she is. She's incredible. She's here tomorrow. And then we have another legendary person joining us as well. And we're excited about this on Thursday. Kim Margolis is going to be with us. Renowned singer, songwriter, and producer. Going to be joining us. Live music, all kinds of incredible conversation, all our fabulous levity and everything else. On Friday, Lisa Panagos is going to be here. She's an extraordinary singer and actress. Just Google her and you'll see who I'm talking about. We don't want to give it all away, so we're just teasing you a little bit here with some of the guests tomorrow and Thursday and Friday. That's a lot. We do a lot of shows around here. A lot of content. If you didn't see the episode where we were celebrating the life of Lisa Marie Presley with our special friend, celebrity fashion stylist and designer Wayne Scott Lucas, see that episode on our YouTube channel. And all the episodes are on our YouTube channel of our series, The Jim Masters Show Live. A couple more comments coming in here. Yes, relax. And Ronald says, you made the evening a real pleasure and a great interview with Dennis. Thanks, Ronald. Thank you very, very much as well. I really appreciate that, my friend. It is really spectacular when you are here. Sending big hugs to everybody, too, from Ronald. And great seeing you. Yes, right back at you, Ronald. And thank you very much. And Maureen says, fabulous episode. My day has greatly improved. Thank you, Jim and Dennis. A lot of people say that when they watch our show, their day turns around. It gets better. 2:40 a.m. where Jane is in Sweden. She is with us at late hour. That's dedication to being with us here on our live show. All right, gang, we're going to wrap up. We don't say goodbye around here. We say see you later. Ciao, cheers, slancha, moi loop, cheerio, avita zane. Let's see. Buenos noches. ¿Cómo estás? Take care. Be well. We love you all. And thanks for being with us. We'll see you on the next episode. Don't forget to give this episode a like. Yes, like, comment. There's a thumbs up icon. Give it a like. Hit that. Leave a comment for us on our YouTube channel and subscribe to the YouTube channel as well. We'd appreciate that. That really helps us grow. Thanks for being with us. Jim Masters here. Thank you for your time this time till next time. Thanks for watching this episode of the Jim Masters Show. We love you all. We'll see you on the next one. Cheers.